Now it's time for Hobo Reviews with Willie B.A. Hobo. Tonight's review, Monsters Incorporated. Oh my god, this is the best movie I've ever seen in my whole life! We scare because we care about the spoilers! There's these monsters named Mike Wazowski and James P. Sullivan, or Sully for short, who live in Monstropolis and work at a very nice factory called Monsters Incorporated. Their goal is to make enough scream so that the energy can stay sufficient and the power can stay on in Monstropolis. What a weird plot. They're also trying to break the record for most scares of all time. And they are being pursued by Randall, the bad guy in this movie. Which kind of makes sense because, you know, he is a reptile. And reptiles are kind of villainous, if you know what I mean. Especially when he's a snake, but unfortunately he's not. He's kind of a chameleon. Which makes sense because, well, chameleons are sneaky and he's a sneaky one. And that's what bad guys typically do. So anyways, they discover when they scare someone that someone has crept out from the real world to the monster world. A little child. And the irony is, the monsters are afraid of the kid! When typically it's the other way around. Kids should be afraid of monsters, mama. But in this case, the monsters, mama, is afraid of the little child. Sully figures this out, he hides her, and he names her Boo. Maybe that's because he says, Boo! Ah! I'm getting the hell out of here! Anyways, so then they decide to keep Boo because Boo is harmless. She is innocent. Because she's a cute baby little girl. Cute. So they have to hide her. Because if anyone figures out, they're going to be fired. Which kinda makes sense, mama, because nobody wants to see the baby. So they decide to take their sofa and make it a monster costume, so that way they can disguise her as a monster, so no one can figure this out. And then they play lots of fun games with her, like hide and go seek. And then she goes through the shredder, even though she doesn't really go through the shredder, and so they think she did, and thus she faints every time he sees the choppy thing turn into a cube. Except Boo's alive and well. So then they go to Mr. Waternoose, the boss, and he says, well, we're gonna let you show a demonstration of how tough it is to be a scarer. And Boo happens to be watching, and so Sully does his demonstration. Boo is now scared of Sully, and he looks at the video, and yikes. Yeah, he's really scary. So then Mike Wazowski talks to James P. Sullivan about the child. They set up a door and banished. They are banished. You wanna know why they're banished? Because they were not supposed to keep this a secret. And no one else must know about this. So, who do they run into? Welcome to the Himalayas! That's right, the abominable snowman, mama, who makes snow cones. How about you, big fella? Snow cone? Seriously, what kind of an abominable snowman makes snow cones? I thought you were supposed to be abominable, not friendly and peppy. Of course, I guess that's Disney's doing for that. Anyways, James P. Sullivan decides to go back to the monster world and save Boo because they're going to try and drain the life out of her with a scare machine, which doesn't need monsters like Sully or Mike Wazowski. Of course, Mike isn't really much of a scarer. So then they go save Boo. They go through all these doors, they take out Randall, then they go after Mr. Waternoose, they arrest him because Mr. Waternoose says, I'm film, and I quote, I'll kidnap 1,000 children before I let this company die, and I'll silence anyone who gets in my way. Unfortunately for him, the FBI was watching and they arrest him, and Monsters Inc. is shut down. Temporarily, until James P. Sullivan comes up with an idea to keep the company going and to keep the energy going. Instead of getting scares out of the kids, get chuckles out of the kids. Hence, Mike Wazowski fits perfectly because he is voiced by Billy Crystal, and Billy Crystal is one of the great comedians of all time. So it makes sense. All he does, though, is just eat his freaking microphone and belches it back out. How the hell does that get left in my mom? Oh, and you want to know what happened to Boo? Because they ultimately have to shred her door, but then Mike Wazowski's able to put the door back together. Sully kept the one piece of the door that was left. He puts it back in the door's working, so he goes up in the door and he's like, Boo, kitty! And you think there'd be a sequel, but sadly no. It sets up the prequel 12 fucking MMA years later. But in any case, I do enjoy Monsters Inc. And if you would like to make a donation for a sequel where Sully lived with Boo, please make a donation to the following website. That's youtube.com/Missoulord13. I don't think there'll be an Indiegogo, but do make a donation if you like to have a sequel. As far as the movie goes, I enjoyed it because, well, it's Pixar, and Pixar's typically promising. This is Willie B.A. Hobo saying, Charge! You got charge! Come on up and go! Come on, charge! Come on! I need that money so I can keep the donation alive and well! Don't you want Sully to reunite with Boo for good?